Wait, what? Really? Okay.
Okay, with your host, Loren Weisman.
This is a fully licensed theme song for the show about stuff that makes you say, wait, what? Really? Okay.
Okay.
Where is the vetting gone? Where is the accountability and responsibility of the individual to look into seeing if a source is real or not? It seems we've come into a time of a serious lack of accountability and almost becoming sheep in many cases. So I've listened to people say, I got screwed over here. I got taken advantage of here. Did you? Or did you allow it to happen? Did you not take the time to look at who you were potentially working with, what you were potentially doing, what you were potentially putting money into? It seems this dumbed down generation to accept a headline is oftentimes the first person to jump back and say, look at how I got abused, look at how I got taken, look at how I got screwed. And yet really when you look at the accountability, to me at least, these people allowed themselves to get screwed. They didn't dig in deeper. They saw what they needed to see. And this goes beyond politics and it goes beyond the business scams. It goes beyond the online stuff. I mean, you date it back however many years to the Nigerian princes reaching out to poor old ladies saying, leaving this amount of money, or the scams that have come through the emails, or the scams that are online every day. Here's how fast you can make money. Here's where you can be sent this. Here's how, you're going to get all this and this and we're legit. And here are the sources you can look at. A number of years back when I was more involved in doing some messaging strategy for some CBD companies, we were amazed that when we dug deeper that these third-party testers and these reviewers and these third-party labs, a great majority of them were owned by the product company. They were just named something different. However, they didn't cover their tracks as well. I guess they weren't looking for someone to dig that deep that you could backtrail them to see their filings and see that the filing with a given state or city or whatnot tied them both together. We've come into a time, and we've been here for a while, but I believe it's more important than ever to look into the people, look into the businesses, look into the products. We have a problem with the Amazon reviews. And half of those reviews, it's not even an intentionally bad thing. Somebody gets a product and they open up that product and they see right on that product box a little letter saying, how would you like $5, $10, this kind of discount for anything else? Just put in a review for us. Put in a 5-star review and we'll get this right back to you. I think there should be a review app out there. And inside of this app, it states when the review, how long after the individual had the product that they performed the review. So you bought this item, and after 90 days, I believe that review can be a lot more authentic and true than somebody reviewing it in 90 minutes, looking to get an Amazon gift card so they can keep buying more. In this time that we're in, if you're not going to look that much deeper, I feel you're going to see that many more problems. It's the same thing with the individuals. There are courses on courses. They're all over LinkedIn, all over Google, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, anywhere. Here's how to kind of summarize, appear as a professional X, Y, or Z. It's strange that it doesn't put any kind of focus in, here's the education element to become that professional. It's more of here's how to come off as, here's how to appear. These little leadership things that just to me, I want to report every single one of them. And maybe there are a few out there that are genuine, but so many of these leaders say this, here's how you get around a no. Here's how you get around this. So you can bring out some of the worst products, the worst services. But these people are using, anything from the NLP to psychological tactics to yell, tell, and sell their way through the door. No, you've got this. And there's a lack of accountability there. I have a problem with the lack of liability in what can be said online. I'd love to see the tides turn, and they're turning a little bit, not as much as I'd like to see, where if somebody was stating these outrageous claims to make that sale, that if it isn't true, they're held liable for that. And that's another thought to think about, whether you're looking at someone or looking at a product. What are they stating? And could you come back to them and say, okay, great. Can you put this in writing, in the receipt, in the invoice, that this is exactly how it will be? And if there are any problems whatsoever, I get my money back or this much of a refund. Not many of them, not that I know of any of them would do that, because they're pulling off what they can pull off. They're using the greatest jargon. They're using an anonymous element in many cases. You see these people where it's business after business. There are a number of these business strategist groups, these motivational wellness, these life coaches, where they specifically state, create these sites in this format so that if something goes wrong, vagueness and something goes wrong, you can shut it down and begin anew. Be a little bit, I don't want to say worried, but be a little bit more aware. Somebody all of a sudden is throwing out all this stuff, but their full name isn't there. And that it doesn't tie their name, their self, their images don't tie to the business. Because to me, that's a big red flag in going, okay, so you're popping up whatever you can pop up. And once this, or if this comes under fire, you can jump away and do something else. I like this site. It's called Wayback Machine. And I find it really fun to run through every so often, and I invite you to look it up. Again, it's called Wayback Machine. And you can see in Wayback Machine, it will grab screenshots through the years of a given domain. So if somebody's been, flipping from project to project, job to job, MLM to MLM, scam to scam, where they thought they erased all that stuff, there's a little footprint. There's a little thing of seeing what that is and going to Wayback and seeing how far do they go back with what they talk about, with what they do, with any kind of validity, or do you see the growth of authority or not? Is it an 18-year-old using the AI for voiceover things and these elements trying to sell as if there's something different? Keep an eye out. Keep an ear out. Consider looking a little bit deeper. It's amazing what people will come to accept and other things that they will just fight to the end on. You see somebody in a Starbucks lose their mind because somebody messed up their extra shot of a pumpkin spice latte. Yet when CNN or Fox puts out some kind of headline, they'll be the first person to scream it to the world as if they knew it, as if they're an expert, not knowing where that comes from. There was an individual I spoke to the other day said, well, this particular network has doctors. They have PhDs that know stuff. Does it mean that they know what they're talking about in that given area? Does it mean that they have all the information to go off of? We've come to a very frightening time. And today is election day. Many things, he's a liar, she's a liar. They're both liars. There's lots of lies going out on there because inside of campaigns, there isn't that liability there either. You can say what you want to say. There's certain boundaries, but they're very thin and very easy to cross. You want to talk about, that honesty and that integrity. If it's not required, if it's not going to be pushed through to be required, then what requires anyone to do it? Have a deeper look before you commit to an individual, before you commit to the greatest system. Here's the top 5 things you need to do. Before you commit to buying the book from someone where they might have had it just pitched as an AI written sales thing to get you to believe whatever in 90 pages of double-spaced words with other people's quotes, other people's authorities, and other people's idea trying to sell what they have. If you're buying that, that's on you. Look deeper. Dig deeper. Get back to the sense of vetting. Look for the accountability, the authority. Look for the transparency. And if you don't see it, maybe it's time to look somewhere else. If you're hearing everything you want to hear, maybe that's a bad thing in the end. A lot of people that I've talked to, people that have been my clients, FSG clients, they don't like the initial phases. They don't oftentimes like to hear because they're not going to get buttered up. This is a problem. This needs to get fixed. Well, this person told me that. Go with that person. I will not work with anyone. FSG will not work with anyone that doesn't have their grounding, that doesn't have a foundation in moral, ethics, honor, and transparency. And at the same time, quality. And if that's not there and they're looking for messaging or financing or marketing to move around that, then it just won't work. It's one of the things that FSG has out there and that I do independently. If I can't see the authority in you, I can't work with you because I'm not going to create a false authority with you or for you. And if you don't necessarily have that authority yet, then maybe it's not the time to write a book. Maybe it's not the time to put out some kind of podcast. Maybe it's not the time to create something that is untrue to try to make it appear true to audiences around. Would you say these exact same things or take this exact same path with the closest family member, with a son, a daughter, a mother, a father, a best friend? Someone in dire straits looking for a way to, maybe your product is something to get them to that next level. Would you do that to them? If you wouldn't, then why would you do that to the rest of the public? Take heart. If you have it, take faith and stand on a foundation of truth and authenticity and not just as a buzzword. In that, you might not achieve the traffic, the views, the likes, and the comments. But instead, you might achieve the best connections to the correct conversions to people you can genuinely help and people that are worth helping. I hope you'll vet a little bit more. I hope you'll practice a little bit more due diligence. I hope that the things that you see and hear, that you won't assume them to be objective, substantiated truths until you have the time yourself to substantiate them and see if they truly are. I hope you have a great day, a great evening. This country is not going to explode tonight regardless of who wins. And this was Loren Weisman. This is Wait, What Really Okay? This is one take with no AI enhancement and no script and the little stops and the pauses and the coughs. Those are all organic. They're authentic and they're me. And I'm not going to hide that. And I invite you not to do the same. Keep it true in your content. Keep it true in your words, in your works, and in your vetting. Have a good one.
Wait, what really okay?